confirms our hope, our expectations, our assumptions that this is the direction of travel that Webflow is going in, right?
This will be, in a way, like make or break moment. They kind of need to boost the confidence that people have in them.
And my hope is that, it will flatten the complexity in the platform a little bit and allow us to use our Claude code and whatnot to interact quicker, at scale, and more performantly with our sites.
Okay, Dan. So Webflow announced that they will re-architect the whole platform so that the code will be the fundamental source of truth. What do you think that means, and how are you approaching this news?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think I feel two ways about it. Firstly, I'm really excited. And secondly, I'm a little bit nerve-wracked a little bit, figuring it out still. And I think that's okay. On the exciting side, so firstly, I think it's great because it confirms our hope, our expectations, our assumptions that this is the direction of travel that Webflow is going in, right? That they want to move towards agentic development. They're setting up the foundations to do so. So the code is the source of truth, as they're saying. It confirms the work that we already saw in progress with MCP2. So that's good. It's kind of a confirmation that things are moving in the right direction and exciting about what this might enable. Also, they deliberately left it a bit vague, which is always exciting. Slightly nerve-wracking because we've been using Webflow kind of in its current guise for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, there are some questions about what might change. Will the designer look different? Will we be able to build sites as we've been doing? Or, will our workflows need to change? And will it affect our business at the end of the day? But I think any impact should be pretty positive. We think we're on the right platform. And I think this is a nice step in the right direction. That's my hope.
Yeah, totally. I'm on the same boat. It's great that they are acknowledging that they are kind of playing this catch-up game with other platforms. This is the way to go. Yeah, there's no clear timelines, but they said that they will show something in the Webflow Conf. So that's exciting. But yeah, I'm also puzzled or wondering that it must be a huge lift to do the whole fundamental architecture, and hopefully it will come sooner than later. But yeah, what do you think? How much will we be able to see at the Webflow Conf?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know any more than you do. They always have way of making the events quite exciting, and they usually have one or two big things to announce. I guess this will be that in whatever guise it turns into. I would love to see some of the updated experience if it's changing and some tangible evidence of what we can expect to be different in this updated, slightly iterative and improved Webflow version, perhaps. I don't know. But it's hard to say, right? Because I expect, as you say, it's going to take them a while to cross all the T's and dot the I's and get this new iteration of Webflow fully out there. But I think just confirmation that they're moving in the right direction would be great. So anything that kind of gives a hint of that would be cool.
Yeah. And this came at a quite good time, since I don't know if you saw, but Timothy Ricks sent out a LinkedIn post and has been doing some other videos about other platforms, and in the post he was saying that he might not be going on with Webflow if they do not change. A couple of days later they came up with that article. So at least to me, it kind of gives us more hope for the platform, and confirmation that they are still in the game strongly, and they are knowing where to go. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's interesting because what I would say is, and maybe it's the nature of the types of clients we work with and the size and scale of some of the businesses we build websites with and for. We're not hearing every single day that something has to change, we're being held back in the same way some prominent folks in the community would have you believe. Because I think at the end of the day, as a practitioner tool, if you could pick any tool out there and you want to be the most AI centric and Claude enabled, and you go Webflow or something else, maybe there are some alternatives. For our customers, a lot of them are these kind of established marketing teams. There's several different people on your team. There's governance and workflows and approvals, and also maybe a little bit of AI hesitancy in some of the bigger companies. And actually, that still positions Webflow at the top spot. And I say that genuinely, because if it wasn't, we wouldn't want to push it. But it feels like Webflow is still well ahead of most of its peers. And you remember, most of these customers that we're helping move over to Webflow are on legacy platforms, let's say, which are miles behind the Sanity, Claude, AI workflows that kind of we're talking about on LinkedIn. These are WordPress installs from 15 years ago that are out of date and getting hacked. These are headless CMSs that nobody knows how they work and can't manage them. So in that respect, for our customers, I think this stuff's really exciting, but it's less of like a burning platform, something needs to change. But I know in the community, there's a lot more maybe excitement about kind of the urgency of this. Yeah. So let's see.
Yeah. And obviously the community is mostly like builders, makers, developers doing stuff, and they want to be on the cutting edge. So a lot of like optimizers and so on. But obviously we want the platform to be on a like good road and be confident that even if things change, that it will still be the kind of like the best tool, best platform to use in the future.
That's it. I think it goes back to my first point. Like, it's just confirmation. I think this article and the rumors and murmurs we're hearing that, you know, Webflow continues to move in the right direction and also have the right people. Like, they're super smart group of guys and girls over there. They know what they're doing. And I think there is lots of cool stuff happening in the web ecosystem now. So lots that they can look at and see what's working and what's not, and hopefully bake into their product. So yeah, really excited to see kind of the next iteration.
Yeah, me too. But okay, Dan, before we go any further, we have to do little intros. My name is Janne Parri, and you are listening to Webflow and Friends podcast. And my guest today is Dan Foster, co-founder and technical director at MakeBuild, a Webflow Enterprise agency from London. So Dan has worked as a UX consultant at Fjord and Accenture before co-founding MakeBuild with Tim Janes. Today, MakeBuild employs over 10 designers and developers working on big clients like Typeform, Sky, PVC, to name a few. And you guys have also won the Webflow All-Star Award with Typeform in 2025, I believe, for migrating 4,000 subpages to Webflow without any like downtime. So clearly you guys are playing this game at the highest level. But Dan, in your own words, how did you and MakeBuild get to this place?
Well, thank you so much for having me on the podcast, Janne. It's a pleasure to be here. As I mentioned to you in the pre-show chit chat, I've had a few people ask me, clients and community people, when are you going to be on the podcast, the illustrious Webflow and Friends? So it's good to finally be here. And thanks for being so patient with me, because I know we've been trying to figure this out for a while. Yeah, so MakeBuild, we started back in 2020. That's 2020, not like there's anything else going on, just to keep us busy. And it was interesting because I met my co-founder, Tim, a creative director and co-founder of MakeBuild, in a previous job. We were actually teaching design, teaching UX at a boot camp. And we were teaching the same class, and we got on pretty well. So we started kind of dabbling with tools on the side, and he mentioned Webflow, and we're like, oh, this is cool. Kind of part of this no-code, low-code movement. And Tim and I were both designers by trade, right? So having this tool that allowed you to go from designs into production code just seemed really magical. Working on some side projects together, and then when we both moved on from the teaching gig, we started MakeBuild, and it's been kind of slow and steady growth since then. We actually realized that we'd previously both been at Accenture at the same time, but it's one of those companies that's so big that we didn't actually know each other. But it was a nice vote of confidence, because, you know, we're kind of from a similar background. We kind of get the importance of delivering really high quality work and following process, but also I think because of that world, we were excited to try something a bit smaller, something a bit more nimble and agile. And that's what we created with MakeBuild. The idea that we could spend less time talking about a problem and more time doing some cool design and then making and building it, making it real, right? So that's kind of the origin story. Since then, we've really lent into the world of marketing and marketers. So working closely with our friends at some of the companies you mentioned, helping them to design, build, and grow kind of the best websites on the internet is our goal. Yeah, we're like 20, 21 people now.
20, okay.
Mostly based in and around London in the UK. We've got a few folks across Europe. And it's a mix of kind of full-time and freelance. For us, the people are so important. The people we work with every day, our team, and the people we get to kind of create projects for. So our clients, relationships are really important. We believed that from the start, and getting people in for a face-to-face, having a coffee is really key. So we always lean into our London base quite a lot, and it's really nice to kind of do that face-to-face thing. So Janne, anytime you're in London, do hit us up.
Yeah. I have a growing list of Londoners who I need to contact when I end up there. But yeah, there has been few folks from London, and that would probably be my first like trip when I get out of our small but beautiful country of Finland. But okay, about MakeBuild. Like, what kind of services do you offer? Like, do you start all the way from like visual design, branding, and how far do you go to the technical side? Or so do you do more than just websites and so on?
Yeah, so we roughly bucket our services into design, build, and grow. And design is everything from initial ideation and strategy, helping clients figure out what they want and need. Sometimes there's a spark of an idea, but we can help extract that and flesh it out into something that really works, all the way through to wireframing and user journey mapping and workshops and that kind of stuff, through to visual design and prototyping. Then in build, it's more often than not centered around a Webflow website, as you might guess. But we do dabble with other platforms as well, or sometimes it's extending Webflow beyond its core platform and integrating custom code, or increasingly Webflow Cloud. And then into growth, it's looking at how we can drive optimization, A/B testing and personalization increasingly. And of course, AEO is a hot topic that a lot of our customers are looking for help with. Design, build, and growth, mostly centered on a Webflow project with other bits either side.
Yeah. That's always interesting. Like, how do people and agencies like build or move the like boundaries? Like, what do they focus on and what they leave out, and so on. But I have noticed that for many Webflow community members, agencies, and freelancers, it's quite a like normal thing to like build the focus with kind of the platform. So focus on marketing, because Webflow focuses on marketing teams, and maybe leave the smaller clients to some other service provider or maybe even platform, and grow with the optimization side and so on. So that's a good way to do that. And have you seen that MakeBuild has been like growing with the platform being Webflow?
Yeah, definitely. So we've been a partner program for a few years now. That when we first started, it was literally just me and Tim, by the way, working on our laptops remotely. So the team was very small and we were just two freelancers really operating under a brand. But over the last 3 or 4 years, that's grown. We've built a team, and with that, our agency and our operations and the types of projects we do. But yeah, we've grown alongside Webflow, which has been really exciting. So as they, I think particularly in Europe, have started to make a bigger name for themselves, we in London have been able to kind of capitalize on that and bring the implementation services that these customers often need a hand with alongside the platform that Webflow bring. And it's a really good like symbiotic relationship. I think we both help each other, because sometimes we're having conversations with customers and they're thinking about platform and we recommend Webflow, and sometimes Webflow are able to kind of point people in our direction or through the partner matchmaking form online when they're looking for a good agency, and occasionally we pop up there too.
Yeah. And speaking of like those conversations with customers, clients, and the article that we started this episode with also mentioned that Webflow has seen that about 30% of the enterprise clients already use some sort of agents with their production site. So I wonder, have you seen similar things with your clients, and what sort of conversations do you go through regarding AI, and what can it do, and what your clients might wish it could do, and so on?
Yes, yeah, it's a good question. I think, like most people in the world, we're all on a bit of an AI journey of maturity, and on a personal level, some people love it, some people hate it. And also on an organizational level, some of the customers we work with are really invested. Maybe they themselves operate in kind of the AI niche. So they want their whole marketing team and their operations to be AI enabled. So of course they're leaning into agentic website management. And then there's other customers who are just starting to dabble. They've seen stuff online. They're looking for cool opportunities and ideas, but they may be a little bit more immature. So we have customers spreading the whole length of that. And also remember, there are some customers who maybe they want to do it, but they can't because their company doesn't allow them to use Claude or something, or they're a bit more restricted. So we see a lot of interest along the whole spectrum, from really expert power users who are building agents and maybe even using, MCP betas and really getting into the mix of stuff there, all the way down to people who are a bit more immature and open to ideas, but maybe still very happy with the visual designer. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I really love Webflow and still think it is positioned so well for that marketing site use case. Because often you've got different levels of AI maturity and preference, right? You've got some folks on a team who want that visual builder. They want to see stuff in front of them. Maybe they're used to writing Word documents and Google Docs, and this is kind of a nice step up where they can create their blog posts visually. And there are other users maybe on the same team who want to prompt 50 articles into existence and need to do it via MCP. And I think Webflow's kind of making a really good name for itself as the platform that can kind of do both, especially as MCP is getting better finally.
Yeah. I just started my summer break. Then the MCP 2.0 came out. I was like, all right. Well, but so I haven't played around with it, but have you tried it? And is that a thing that you would tell to your clients that maybe they should use that or give it another try maybe, or anything like that?
Yeah. And look, to that same point around maturity and interest in AI tools, we're never going to be the agency that's pushing all of our people to always use AI and all of our customers must. But if they're expressing an interest, we've really leaned in to Claude lately. We had a conversation with a client recently who said, we want everything to be on Claude. Website is the only bit that's not right now. If we move over to Webflow, can we plug it into Claude? And we're like, yeah, the way the MCP is going, there's more and more operations that you could do previously only in the designer, now available in MCP, which is great. And increasingly, we're starting to talk to them around custom skills. So for example, Webflow produces, I think there's a GitHub repo of loads of different skills which have been honed to help you get the most out of MCP, which is great. But increasingly, we're talking to clients about custom skills that can help do even more on your website, right? Maybe there's a really custom, unique setup or component or something, and a little bit of an extra helping hand beyond the core Webflow skills just help smooth that transition from Claude into Webflow even further.
Yeah. And then there is this library of certain instructions for MCPs, LLMs within Webflow. So that was kind of at least in my mind, clever thing to do, that even if you change your agent or LLM, those instructions live there. And as a developer, you can set it up and have more peace of mind that whatever tool uses and reads those will be able to do better work in that sense. So have you already utilized those? The
agent instructions, I personally have not. I'm focusing more on the kind of the skill side of things, but we definitely need to dabble with the agent instructions, and I think some of our team are starting to explore that. But that's the thing, Jan, I'm finding I'm spending less time in Webflow in the tools these days because I'm having so much fun chatting to clients and doing things like this. So it's probably my summer homework as well. I need to brush up on the latest features.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. And there's so many other tools that one needs to check out and so on. And especially, I would imagine that when the company grows, you do less and less that day-to-day actual production stuff, and do more of the conversations that you mentioned and sales and whatnot. So
I still make sure I get into the tools occasionally. I was in this morning updating something on our website. I was like, it's nice just to see how things are going and make sure I've still got my finger on the pulse as technical director after all. But we've got an amazing team, so it's not like I need to be in Webflow pushing code daily. We've got such a great team of devs and designers, of course. But yeah, they're more than capable.
Yeah. And it shows if the listeners wanna check out like all the case studies. Like it really shows. Those are awesome. You mentioned before like that you are also using Webflow Cloud more and more. I'm like wondering, in which cases do you use that? If you have a concrete example, that would be nice. And yeah, I have this tendency to group multiple questions, so let's go with those.
Webflow Cloud, yes. So there's two kind of primary examples that come to mind. One is a full like case study, and it's on the website, so I can talk about that properly, and definitely go and take a look if you're interested or ask me any questions. And then the other one is something that we're working on, like a live project, so I can't speak about it in too much detail, but I can give a hint. And the two kind of buckets are, firstly, it's like full production web apps, like kind of, I guess, maybe how it was initially pitched. You can now build web apps on Webflow. And then the second one is kind of behind the scenes stuff. Maybe it's like proxies, or it's management apps that can sit inside of your workspace to help your customers or clients do their job on the website. So it's like an extra little layer, kind of a control panel to help manage the site, which is interesting. Oh, yeah. So I can't do too much about that one, but maybe next time. Whereas this one, the full kind of production web apps. So we've done a couple. The one which stands out, we did for a company called Sky, who are like a telecommunications TV company here in the UK. And they approached us asking for some help in reimagining how employees get recognized for great work, which is kind of a random ask, especially because a lot of our work is a little bit more external focused, right? It create me a new B2C marketing site or B2B landing page, that type of thing. Whereas this is more of an internal use case. So it's a site that their company can use to shout out when one another have done great work and kind of give some rewards out and build a real like culture of recognition. And they were the ones who came to us with the ask. They came to us and said, we want to build this thing. We're sure what it is yet. So we went through that whole discovery design journey to kind of scope this thing out and create a concept. And then when it comes to development, they were really keen to do it on Webflow because they've already kind of gone all in on Webflow as a business. So they said, well, what can we do? How can we push the limits of Webflow to enable this? And thankfully, with Webflow Cloud getting released, I guess it was a year or so ago, it was kind of a nice time to try it at scale. And working really closely with our colleagues over in Sky and our friends at Webflow Solution Architects, we were able to push Webflow Cloud to its limits and deliver something really great. So I think on launch day, there were like 12,000 users, more than that now. And it's really cool. Yeah. So you can go in and you can like I could nominate you, Janne, for like great work on the podcast. And then you get a little notification, and then maybe your manager sees that and they go, wow, great work. I'm going to send you a voucher or something, which you can then redeem. And it's really cool system. What was really exciting was, obviously there's the technical and we can talk about how we built it and all that. But from like a business impact perspective, like even on launch day, we had people saying, this thing is so good. Firstly, it looks nice. We're like, oh, great, nice. But secondly, like the sales teams who are like speaking to customers on the phone are so motivated. They're selling more than ever. We were like, oh, nice. Amazing. Like this little thing we made actually has helped kind of improve sales and performance. So it's really cool.
A little thing that you made. What did you say? Like 12,000? What was it? 1,000 and 200 or 12,000?
It was 12,000. But it feels little because it has a little job and it does it really well. It's not like some big sprawling, like global, I don't know, massive thing, but the impact has been big, which is great.
Yeah. And you mentioned that the client came to you. I would imagine like if one is known for like Webflow and websites, they might not get too many of those inquiries. And I'm like interested how you approached that. Like, did you have a talent in-house to produce that? Did you have to hire someone? And what was the whole like experience in your point of view?
Yeah, good question. In our like dev organization, we kind of split the team into kind of designers and developers and operations and marketing and everything else. In the dev team, we have kind of some different levels of dev where we've got kind of our mid-level Webflow devs. We've got kind of slightly more lead devs and seniors. And then we've got some kind of full stack experts as well who kind of sit within that world. So thankfully, we already had a couple of experts who know the world of full stack and pushing code to GitHub and kind of managing backends and databases. And they were already putting that to work to extend our Webflow marketing site, which is cool. But it was interesting that this was the first time that at scale, we were really pushing the limits of Webflow Cloud as a whole new kind of part of the platform. So we already had the people, thankfully. And it's good because we're getting more and more requests for that type of work, more Webflow Cloud, interactive web app experiences. So I could see that side of the team continuing to grow, actually.
Yeah, interesting. Like, are those inquiries coming like inbound or through like some Webflow channels, or have they just seen the work you have done this far and asking about something similar?
Yeah, interestingly, a lot of it is kind of expansion. So often we're working with these companies maybe on a marketing site and they go, oh, could we do this? Or like somebody was asking if it's possible to do something like that. And I know it's not really a marketing site, but and what's great is that now, rather than maybe a few years ago where maybe you could glue some no-code stuff together and you could get kind of a prototype or something just about workable, these days you can go, yeah, Webflow can do it. It's part of Webflow Cloud. It's really robust. It hasn't got absolutely every feature just yet, but it's improving. And that's quite nice, actually. So it's often an expansion route. We start with a marketing site and then this stuff comes after. Or, yeah, sometimes it's like a referral or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say would be like the ideal use case for Webflow Cloud? If someone in the audience knows nothing about Webflow Cloud, what would be a good use case for that?
It's a good question. You know, if you were coming at, I want to build a full stack web app from scratch and you weren't on Webflow already, it might not be the first choice, especially in this kind of AI enabled world in which we're finding ourselves. But I think for us, I'd probably recommend it for those folks who are already kind of either exploring or on the Webflow ecosystem. I think it's such a great fit because a lot of time and effort, especially if you're one of those bigger enterprise scale companies, goes into figuring out which platform you're going to invest in, getting the IT approvals and the security and the contracts. So once you've already done that, you've got these tools available. You might as well use them. So from a customer's perspective, it's often those customers who are either exploring or already on something like Webflow. And then from a use case perspective, that will vary so much because it is kind of a blank canvas. It is full stack web app. You can do kind of anything. So what we're finding is it's quite cool for those situations where kind of a classic Webflow site won't cut it, when you need that back end, where you need to store data, where you've got logins, all that kind of stuff. Those are kind of the little flags that we look for where we go, this could be kind of a Webflow Cloud type build.
Yeah, interesting. And what about for your agency friends? Like if there are some agency owners there and they are wondering if they should do some sort of service around that, would you recommend that, and how should they approach it?
Wow. Yeah. Free agency consulting coming away. I'm no expert, right? And I think the thing about MakeBuild, we're figuring this out and we're growing along with the platform, right? We're nimble and we've got the type of people that love testing out new stuff and figuring stuff out, which is great. In terms of building a practice around it, I think it has to be a good fit for you and your team. So if you've got these kind of complementary skills that you need to be able to push, back end code, and you understand that world as well as the kind of the front end Webflow world, then definitely worth dabbling and having a look, I think. Yeah. If you're much more comfortable with kind of the classic marketing site use case, well, then I think the way that the Webflow platform is going, back to our conversation before, seeing things like agentic development through MCP2 or seeing AI code components, which I think is pretty cool as well. There's a world in which maybe you don't need to lean all into this Webflow Cloud type use case. I think it's a mix of, do you have those skills? Are you interested in building full stack web apps? And are your clients asking for it, right? If there's areas where you think, this probably isn't going to be a Webflow designer type build, then it might be worth looking at. But it is different. It is very different kind of proposition. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing, that nowadays Webflow has so many like sub things going on, that especially for people working alone, like you can definitely pick a lane. Agencies can do more, but there's like localization and optimization, and people can just like focus on those and build a good service around those and just be fine without ever like checking out the more development oriented stuff, for example. But speaking of that, if we bring it back to the re-architecture thing that we started this episode. How do you see that all those like development-oriented things like the Webflow Cloud code components and whatever there is, DevLink, if someone remembers DevLink.
Yeah.
How do those fit into this new like image of Webflow's future? Do you think that they will fit in nicely? Do you think that they will be obsolete and just replaced with something new and so on? So what does your crystal ball say?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. Can't see a world in which those type of features, allowing people to prompt rich widgets into existence with AI code components, allowing you to use agentic development tools via MCP 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever it is eventually. I can't see a world in which those type of features get taken out of the platform now, because that's what people are asking for. They're asking to push their marketing sites further, bigger, better than ever before. They want interactive widgets. They want to control and manage their sites at scale from their Claude desktop app, right? Whether or not they're still called all those things, who knows? I don't have that tap into the Webflow product marketing team. It may be that it all gets rebranded and rebuilt as something completely new, but those features are becoming more and more important in both our workflow and for our customers, because it's not kind of enough to have kind of a classic Webflow landing page with a couple of animations anymore. I think especially at the kind of competitive B2B SaaS world, for instance, like the bar is quite high for making a real impact on your landing pages. And that's both from how does it look and feel from a user perspective, but also how well optimized is it using A/B tests and, AI powered optimization? How personalized is it via things like Webflow Optimize? And how readily understood is it by AI agents and AEO? And I'm sure we'll get into that eventually. But that's probably the next question on your list, isn't it? But
now that you mentioned it, yeah. Wait, I had something escape my mind. Yeah. It's hard to see that they would like take those abilities away, especially knowing that they like Webflow is aiming for the bigger clients, the enterprise clients, and usually those would be the clients that want to have those more development oriented features, even if they don't use it like just in case that they want it at some point. But yeah, we'll see what the future brings. That I'm like thinking. Again, I'm not like deep into the features will not be needed anymore, or there's a simpler way to like host something on Webflow,
right? And
that would not be Webflow Cloud. I have said so many times Claude, mixing those.
Do you know something I don't? Is this the new name for the Webflow Cloud feature? It's getting rebranded as Webflow Cloud, is it? Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
Can I ask you a question? Have you dabbled with things like, I know you said MCP2 is quite new, but have you played with like AI code components or Webflow Cloud yet, or not just yet?
Not really. I have had some tries, not with like real clients. There was this, what was it called? Like AppGen. I built something or tried it out and so on, but I haven't gotten deep into those like Webflow Cloud and code components. That's on my list because I know that people are doing cool little things, like also little things like you do not have to do anything like major with those and so on. And MCP, that's like higher on my list because that would obviously help the workflow with even like basic marketing insights or so on. But yeah, MCP 2.0 seems like great, but I'm wondering, do you remember if that can do like interactions too at this point?
I remember seeing some caveat around GSAP animations. Maybe it hasn't got the full suite of capabilities yet. It's interesting. I had a chat with some of the Webflow team, and they kind of gave our team a bit of a walk through, some of the things it can do and some it can't, as kind of 2.0 was getting rolled out. And it was amazing to see the improvement from MCP1 with the Bridge app, and you need to do this, and it can do a few things kind of well, but there's lots of improvement. Whereas MCP2 is like, oh wow, it can do almost everything you can do in the design. They seemingly have taken the Bridge app away for most use cases, but not everything. So it is definitely improving. Whether or not it can do absolutely everything yet, I think not. But I think that's, again, the direction of travel, right? It's
totally.
continuing
And
to improve.
I'm like fine if it can't yet do those like interactions or GSAP stuff. Just like the addition of like components, editing those and component prompts like that. That's a big thing for me. So that you can like just prompt and say that, okay, using the components that are already in Webflow, build a new page for that. So, and fill it with relevant content. So that in itself is beautiful. But I'm wondering how does that like relate to this new architecture thing? Is there like something towards this new way of building, some like markers or anything like that? They kind of like said something along the lines in the architecture, but I didn't really get how those are like related.
Yeah.
Do you have any knowledge about that?
No, I don't. My read on it was, getting to the source. They want to do a better job of exposing the real code of your website and allowing you to interact and manipulate the code directly. And there's so many different ways you could take that. That could be, a slightly better designer experience that doesn't have this invisible middle layer that then controls the code. Or it could be, AI agents via MCP are able to more readily interact with the raw code on your site, so it's more performant and quicker. Because I know, particularly with MCP 1.0, one of the bugbears that people had was it was quite slow to get stuff done. So my hope is that, it will flatten the complexity in the platform a little bit and allow us to use our desktop agentic dev tools and Claude code and whatnot to interact quicker, at scale, and more performantly with our sites. That's my hope anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And I have another question about your read of that article. It's like coming back again and again, that article. But there was mentions like owning one's code and like portability of code.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? Are we getting like code that we can freely like import, export from the platform? Or what do you think?
Yeah, you're right. Because I guess we've always had the Shift-E export as a zip file, which was helpful. And I know a lot of companies who use that a lot, not necessarily our customers, but they have weird and wacky workflows where they design a site and they export it and they put it into another CMS, and people using Webflow in that way for a while. You're right, the import, getting code into Webflow has maybe always been a little bit more tricky and gated. It's always been, you got to pop your code into this footer section, or you've got to put it into this code embed, or increasingly serve it, maybe through Webflow Cloud or GitHub or whatever. But more interoperability. Like Webflow is just a tool that you can use to access your code, but you can access it from the other side too. It could be really exciting. And I know for a long time, kind of in the enterprise world, there's questions about like, where does my code live, and geographic restrictions and EU hosting and all of those things. So maybe it's a nod towards that. I don't know.
That would be awesome. I haven't thought about that. That it might like somehow like figure out the EU hosting thing, which has been on the top of the wish list for a long time. So.
Yeah.
Agree. Okay, beautiful. Hopefully it's something along the lines.
Well, I guess on this whole article, right, it's the precursor to this big announcement. So my natural next question is: are you going to be there when it gets announced? Are you going to Boston? Are you going to be at Webflow Conf? Will we see you in the room?
Yeah, I'm afraid not, unless there's some sort of major event that I can get there. Like I have some business to attend, so to speak, back here in Finland, but obviously I'll be watching it online. So yeah, but I'm already doing plans for the 2027. Yeah, 27 is the next year.
Cool. Live podcast. I think it has to be, surely.
That would be cool. Like stream it, at least like some sort of reactions. Yeah. And it's already quite near, like September the 1st, starting on September the 1st, like that's a couple of weeks away. So
not far.
Exciting things. And I also know that they will do some live demos. So I think that there are some folks within Webflow like preparing already for those things. So.
A live demo. You've got to be so brave to do those. I love that they do. Fingers crossed it all goes smoothly. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like this will be, in a way, like make or break moment that all about those announcements and so on. Like they kind of need to like boost the confidence that people have in them, that they have the right direction that we have been talking about all along. So yeah, are you gonna go there?
Yeah. I think it'll be 4 of us from the MakeBuild team flying over, which should be fun. I think Tim might be on a panel or something. Watch this space. Let's see. But yeah, looking forward to being there. And I would say, yeah, if anybody is watching this and wants to say hi, please do come and say hi. Love meeting fellow Webflow fans and whoever else. We can talk about this article in more depth because clearly there's a lot in there.
Oh, totally. Is MakeBuild like nominated for any awards this year?
Yeah. So we've got, we're a finalist for Agency of the Year, which is
nice.
Which is great. It would be awesome to win it. We've been up for that one a couple of times before, but you never know. Always up against very stiff competition because the world of Webflow agencies is great and there's so many companies doing awesome stuff. It's a good group to be in. We're a finalist for that one. I think we're a finalist for Brand Transformation of the Year for some work we did with a customer in Barcelona called Logify. We recently redesigned and rebuilt their website on the back of a rebrand that Koto branding agency did, and that was really fun. And then actually one of our developers is up for Developer of the Year. So Ollie McMillan, he works with us about 50% of the week. I think it's like 2 or 3 days a week and then does some other projects on the side. And we've been so lucky to have him work with us on a number of really big projects, including Typeform, which won All-Star Award last year. But yeah, he will hopefully, get his flowers this year as Dev of the Year. So if you feel like supporting, go and give him a vote on the Webflow Awards site.
Oh yeah, definitely. Everybody online hearing this, like, make sure to vote in general. Like all there are all sorts of categories and cool people. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's go towards another topic, like those AEO stuff and optimization and so on. So what would you say, how much of your revenue or services are focused on those things, those parts?
Yeah, good question. So again, design, build and grow. A lot of our work is helping big, exciting companies with big marketing teams move their sites over to Webflow. So that's often the catalyst for a lot of our client relationships. And then often that evolves into a longer term setup where we're helping them on an ongoing basis or we're doing little projects with them. And that's where we're seeing a lot of growth for the grow part of our business. So that's optimization, A/B testing, figuring out what to test, which I think is the first challenge. Like, it's all well and good saying you're going to A/B test a couple of buttons, but really what's going to move the needle and what is strategically important for your business. So we do a lot of that. And then actually, helping to design and roll out the experiments and review and play it back. And then increasingly the AEO piece as well. AEO a little bit on this ongoing basis, but also in the initial setup. It's increasingly if a company is redoing their whole site, they want to know that it's got the SEO fundamentals. So traditional search will pick it up. But increasingly, it's got the AEO or GEO, whichever acronym you're using, those fundamentals as well. So if somebody is searching on ChatGPT or Claude, or increasingly Google, because Google is promoting its AI overviews right at the top, right? You need to be kind of mentioned and cited up there. So yeah, hearing a lot about it from our customers and helping them kind of move in that direction. What I think is so exciting about the AEO space in particular is it's evolving so quickly. Even, 6-12 months ago, the wisdom on the things that would get you mentioned in AI search have changed. And I went to a conference was it May, I think, in Singapore for Hrefs' annual conference, which was really fun. Would recommend it if anybody's even just a bit interested in the world of AI search. It was a really interesting mix of super kind of high level kind of predictions about the future and the way things are going with AI search, all the way down to super nitty gritty. There was a guy who, I think I mentioned it in like a blog post I wrote. He works for an agency over in Australia, I believe, and he'd queried AI overviews like 1 million times using some bot to kind of work out how it responds to certain prompts. And he was like playing back the data and there's these analyses and it was my mind was blown because I was thinking, oh, we're just going to learn about, schema or whatever. He was like, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And he went into so much detail. So it's really interesting. I took a couple of things away from that talk. One was, things that keep changing. So you got to kind of stay on top of it. Secondly, it was AI search is not a monolith. I think somebody said like Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google AI overviews. They all work a little bit differently, and it's not 100% clear how they all work yet. So it's not a case of going, I'm going to optimize my site for AI search by adding schema and I'll be done with it. Well, they all respond differently to different maybe types of schema or hierarchies or backlinks or, mentions on other sites. They all kind of decide upon these as ranking factors slightly differently. So I thought that was interesting. And I feel like there was one more thing. Oh yeah, I think it was Tim, the kind of MC for the day, CMO of Ahrefs, said winning in AI search is about building surround sound, which I thought was quite a nice metaphor. So it's not good enough anymore for you to say, I'm going to optimize my website for search and it's going to have a load of keywords stuffed into it. Great. Increasingly, search is about building like consent and having lots of different sources around the internet, all kind of saying that, you guys know what you're talking about. So a chatbot sees all of this and goes, that seems sensible. I'm going to send my users there. So increasingly, it's kind of the off page, it's the PR again, it's Reddit, it's YouTube, it's all that good stuff that's factoring into kind of search rankings as well. But I found it really interesting. As somebody who's kind of dabbled with SEO and AEO for a while, that's not my area of expertise. We have an incredible search specialist on the team. But it was nice looking at kind of the trends and seeing where things are going.
Yeah, totally. It's so interesting about all those things, and it's fundamental for websites, obviously. But then, especially if you're just like one guy doing websites, and then you have to master this whole AEO thing. Client asks like, how do I get on the first place or first answer of ChatGPT? You have to produce some sort of answer and maybe even service. Like that's a whole new game. I used to do some SEO services, but that in itself was like a lot of work, a lot of things to keep up. And now I feel like, as you said, it's like in a way bigger. It goes towards like PR and all the like offsite things. So a lot of work if you want to do it like correctly. And on top of that, it changes very, very fast. So
it will stabilize, but I think as it's still relatively new, there's so much kind of movement. And I think the other thing is what's quite exciting about AEO versus like SEO. Obviously SEO has been around for a long time. As long as there's been traditional search, there's been SEO, people who can kind of promise to optimize your site for it. I think what's quite interesting about SEO is I think maybe it's been a little bit unloved sometimes. And you see a lot of SEOs talking about this on LinkedIn, like, with the unloved middle child, nobody wants to pay for a lot of SEO work. But now AEO, because there's an AI element, maybe there's a little bit more excitement from kind of board level or senior folks in a company going, oh, well, we need to be on ChatGPT. So it's kind of reignited this excitement around search again. And of course, often the best people to implement AI search strategies or the best people to recommend on an AEO play are the SEOs, because they know how bots read websites and they know how to optimize for keywords and they know how to build consensus and PR and backlinks. Like these people have gone from maybe being a little bit unloved sometimes, although super important, to now being kind of the stars of the show because AEO is all everyone's talking about. And there's that added layer that I think Webflow mentioned in a publication a while ago, that supposedly if you're visiting a website having been referred through an AI search engine or answer engine, you're more likely to convert more often than not, particularly in B2B settings. So increasingly before, when it was like, well, we just need more traffic. Okay, SEO. Well, this time it's like, well, we need even more leads. And these people are even further down the funnel. And so it's quite interesting. Yeah, AEO kind of continuing to grow in importance, perhaps.
Yeah, I can see that like excitement is reignited somehow. But I also say that a lot of like grapes with SEO has to do with the fuzziness of the whole field. Like it's hard to promise the client the first place on Google. And I would say that it's even more hard to promise to be source in ChatGPT, but obviously people want that. And how do you measure that even nowadays? Like there is not a good way to measure that. Well, the tools will give you some sort of answer, but yeah.
It's a bit of a proxy, isn't it? Like these tools often are running their own prompts and checking and going, oh, it looks like you're ranking for these things, but it's not maybe as detailed and specific as you could get from kind of a SEO tool. I think what's interesting as well is how you position that to customers. Like we would never, maybe we would. I think at least right now, we wouldn't promise anything around like you will get to number one, you will do this. But what we can promise is that we're going to set you up with the best foundation and we're going to do all of the best practices that are currently recommended, because this stuff shifts, to set your site up so it can be machine and bot readable and friendly, right? So it is adding semantic elements. It is using good hierarchy of elements. It is making sure your code is accessible and performant. And it is probably adding some schema for good measure. Although the debate is out on whether that is the be all and end all. I think it's more of an additive rather than the core feature. But yeah, it comes back to the fact that, from what I've seen, from the talks I've attended and the evidence I've seen from our clients, good SEO will get you a long way towards great AEO performance. So yeah, it's good to see SEOs getting the attention and the love they deserve, I think.
Yeah, totally. And many people know that even if the metrics are fuzzy, you should probably do something about it, or pay someone to do that. And then it is just finding the right partner for that. But what about those optimization things? Do you often use Webflow Optimize, and do you have other tools for the same use case? And how do you find those?
Yeah, we've used a few. We've used Webflow Optimize. We've used Optibase, which I think is such a great tool, particularly maybe if you're a little bit smaller and maybe not quite at that enterprise tier yet. I think it delivers a lot of value. I think we've also dabbled with tools like VWO and Optimizely as well on some accounts. I think the thing which keeps bringing me back to Webflow Optimize is I like Webflow as a tool, and it kind of feels and works like Webflow, and it's integrated, which I think for especially maybe slightly less technical clients, having everything in one place is quite a nice selling point. It's a nice pitch. And of course, they've got features like AI Optimize, which they say will get you to statistical significance quicker. And I think the way that they built it is really cool. I'm keen to see it continue to evolve, because there is a wish list, like you were mentioning around EU hosting and stuff. There's things that could be improved and made even better. But it's nice having everything in one place, I think.
Yeah. And if there is a person who would like to start, let's say, with their own site, do some sort of A/B testing or optimization, where would you lead them, and what would be the first test to do?
Yes, you're going to test my knowledge now. We gave a talk on this in 2024, I think, at Webflow Conf London. So it's out on YouTube somewhere. But Tim and I gave this talk, and I'll give you a little bit of backstory on the talk and why we did it, and then we'll get to the answer on how to start. But yeah, so we were chatting with Webflow, and we kind of said we want to do a talk, so we were trying to submit something really punchy, and we go, right, let's do 20 ideas to drive traffic or to optimize your website in 20 minutes. And we were like, that's cool, yeah. What are we going to do? We're like, I don't know, we'll figure it out later. Submitted the talk. And they said, yeah, sounds good. Firstly, they said, yeah, sounds good. So we're like, okay, damn, now we need to figure out the content. But then they also said, instead of 20 minutes, I think we're going to give you 40. I guess maybe they had a cancellation or something. We were like, oh, that's not quite as snappy, 20 minutes, 20 ideas in 40 minutes. But we gave it a bit more of a rethink. And we realized even if we did just have the 20 minutes, it would be pretty short and sharp. So we made it even more compressed. We did 5 minutes of ideas, and you'll see us rattling through these ideas at the start. And the audience is probably going, what are they doing? They're shouting ideas about traffic engagement and conversion. And then we go, okay, let's just pause for a second. This all sounds great, but how do I even know which of these is any good for my website? How do I know which one to start with? And how do you implement this stuff? And we're like, okay, fine. Let's take it back to basics. And that was kind of the slightly random intro. And then we went through our process. And our process for anybody starting out was threefold. So it was HOP. God, I'm really trying to remember now. HOP process. It was start by hunting for ideas. So use competitors as a source of inspiration, but don't just copy everything they're doing. Look around to see what other people have done on their website and see whether an idea could be good, whether it could be something you want to experiment with, you want to try, and also ask your team and maybe look at the analytics to understand if there's anywhere that customers are dropping off or pages that aren't getting as much traffic as you think they should do. So hunt for the ideas, then you put them in order. So really important to prioritize. Like we said, there were 20 ideas in this first 2 minutes of our talk alone. How do you even know where to start? So you prioritize. We use like an ICE framework: impact, complexity, and effort. Just score the different ideas, and then you pick one. You go, right, this is the one we're going to go with. And then you prove. So you prove them by creating the design and putting it out, running an A/B test using a tool like Webflow Optimize or Optibase, and then seeing what the results are. Then it's really important to let the experiment run for a while, particularly if you're not getting a lot of traffic on your site. You might have to let it run for, maybe weeks, see what the results are, and then decide whether you want to keep it on your site and you push that one live, or you say, it wasn't actually that good, and you cancel it and you say, let's not go with that version of the experiment. And you repeat the process again. You go back to the list, you pick a new experiment and you go again. So that kind of HOP framework is how we talk about optimization a lot with our customers. But there's loads of different frameworks and processes. But I think that idea of not just going, I'm going to change the button color, because that's what everybody does. Amazon did it once. Yeah. It's going like, let's actually look outside and see what ideas are out there, see if there's anything really cool that we can experiment with. Put it in order alongside many other ideas, I'm sure, then prove it to working with experimentation. And I think, the prove it bit that I always forget. It's really important to come up with a hypothesis for experiment. So you're saying, we're going to put this variant of the button on the homepage. Our hypothesis is that it's going to drive more clicks than the old blue button by 5%, and we're going to try it for a month and see what happens. So you've got to have a hypothesis that you can prove or disprove. Because if you're just going, let's just see how it goes, it's a bit wishy-washy. So that's our usual process, and might be a good place to get started.
Yeah.
And the whole video is on YouTube if you want to go watch us talk about the random ideas as well.
Yeah, and did I see those ideas on MakeBuild's website too?
Yeah. So we built a kind of a library of ideas, and I think there must be 30 or 40 ideas in there now where we've gone, here are the kind of the classic B2B marketing site type ideas, but they apply to other parts of the web as well. Here are the ideas and the experiments that we're seeing our customers run with and have success with, and we've been implementing. So why not share that? So you can go on our website, I think you pop in your email address, and then you get access to the full list. And it's a nice starting point. Again, I don't think you should just look at the list and grab one and just implement it straight away. If you actually want to do experimentation, it's about looking for inspiration, putting them in an order, and then deciding which one to run with. But yeah, hopefully it's a starting point.
Yeah, that's so cool, and I'll be definitely checking out those. I just have a so long to-do list with my own site that I should just like revamp it altogether.
Have you done experiments on your own website? Have you ever dabbled with like an A/B test or something like that to see if the button color needs to change, and it doesn't have to be the button color. I just always come back to that one.
Yeah. I used to try out like Optibase some year back, but then my traffic was just so low that I haven't tried it since then. But I could take another look. But as I said, I'm still in the process of like revamping, redesigning my site. So that's like the first thing. But I wonder, has the AI like changed this optimization thing? You mentioned that Webflow Optimize has this AI feature that kind of like optimizes without like strictly A/B testing and so on. So do you have any experiences with that? And is that a good feature or just cool thing to say when you market the product?
I think the way that we're seeing AI in the world of website optimization is interesting. There's the AI optimized feature that Webflow has that I think will direct and shift the traffic patterns that are coming to your website into variant A or variant B so that you can get to statistical significance quicker, but you're still creating those variants, right? So there's that. But I think on a kind of a wider level, what we're seeing is a lot of our customers are more excited than ever to try cool stuff because it's quicker than ever to build cool stuff. So some of our customers, B2B SaaS type clients, they are saying, we're going to redo our pricing page. And that might have been something in the past that maybe it's, weeks and months of thinking and design and really make sure we're really happy with the variant before we push it live. Whereas now they go, well, we could just use maybe Claude Code via MCP or dabble with some experiments, and we'll have a few different ones and we'll try them and see if it works. And if it doesn't, we can it. So I think that speed at which you can develop now, and it's always been faster than traditional development in Webflow, but AI-powered development is even quicker than kind of dragging and dropping divs on a page, right? So what we're seeing in the world of optimization is our customers are even more excited than ever to try new stuff, try new widgets, new bold ideas, things that maybe would have taken ages and maybe an animator to create some kind of elaborate sequence are now like, somebody's afternoon in Lovable or something that they then extract and drop into a code embed. So it's interesting the way that they're using AI powered development to get to the experiment that they want to put forward quicker. And so as well as, you can use it to optimize the source of traffic and whatever, they're using it to actually change what they're creating, and they can do that quickly. So it means you can go through more cycles. So really cool.
Interesting. Yeah. I haven't thought this, but a thought came to mind. Kind of a similar thing, but a different thing. Do you think that customers are like more comfortable with not so polished things going live because of AI? Like they just want to do a multitude of different things, and it's fine if it's not too polished or it looks a bit like AI, but let's just figure out it later, push live and see what it brings.
Yeah. And I think, we do see that. I think there's, especially companies with a really strong brand and design guidelines and all that kind of stuff, it's still important that they've got that level of polish. But I think because of AI and because it's so quick, particularly maybe for their competitors to move and iterate, they are also feeling like, well, we need to move and iterate quickly as well. So maybe there's less of that final 5% of polish needed for that first iteration. Let's just get the experiment out there. Let's just get that new landing page out. And if it performs, then we can kind of layer on the finishing touches. But we're seeing that. I think it's helping people move quicker because they want to, but they're facing the pressure from up top or from their competitors also moving quickly. So they're going, let's just get it out. Even if it's not 100% there, it's good enough to get some data that we can then use to iterate and polish the next version.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What about MakeBuild? What are you like testing out or planning for the future? What will be seeing from you guys? Yeah,
it's a good question. I mean, we're focused, as always, on delivering really great work with our customers. So we're pushing them and they're pushing us to experiment and try new tools and implement new features, which is really great. I think tools like Webflow Cloud, again, are giving us the latitude and the ability to do more than ever as a team, because with AI-powered development and Webflow Cloud, you can now build these kind of rich web apps. So I could see us doing more of that in the future, kind of extending marketing sites to become kind of living, breathing applications almost. And I think you'll continue to see us talking about and banging the drum for great design, because kind of, as we said, there is a pressure sometimes to move more quickly, to just put it out there as a kind of a good enough. And while there are circumstances where I think that works, and if you're running experiments and you're testing it with a small portion of your audience and you just want to get a bit of data and then move on, fine. But we'll still be hammering home the importance of really great design, not just the visual, what it looks like, but how it feels, what the interactions are like, the user journeys, the persona mapping, all of that kind of real design thinking type design, because that's been mine and Tim's background from when we started. Really great design permeates everything. And whether or not the AI and the new iteration of Webflow are going to completely change how we build the thing, having that strategic design, quality, craft, or taste, all the buzzwords here, still top of mind, I think is more important than ever. So you'll still see us talking about that, even if we are experimenting with cool AI tools.
Yeah. We have been talking about a lot of like technical stuff, but the design is obviously the other part, and it's fascinating to like compare how does AI affect like the development and the design. So how do you see has AI helped you or your team on the design side? And are there any practical things that you can mention that how has it like helped?
Yeah. And I mean, getting into the weeds of every bit of workflow on design team, you'll probably have to get Tim on the show from a creative director perspective to talk about that. He's a little bit closer to the awesome work that our designers are doing. What I've seen that's actually really interesting, again, back to that point around sorry, I'm bringing it back to development, but being able to develop and build stuff, even our designers, maybe a bit less technical, are now spinning up tools and creating little applications that allow them to generate moving background for a website, for instance, and play with the parameters and decide what the pattern should look like. Or one of our designers created a tool to help in the discovery kind of strategic part of design, where you extract all the pages from a site into kind of a visual sitemap, which is really cool. And that was a designer saying, well, this would be helpful to me rather than have to, buy a tool or map it out manually. Because that's the first stage of design often, like getting a lay of the land, understanding how big the site is. I'm going to spin up a quick tool that does it for me. And I was like, that's awesome. So definitely looking for opportunities to improve the efficiency of everything we do across the studio and create little apps that solve problems. And that's not just the dev team. That's also designers and the PMs and marketing as well.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Have you heard about this new role? Was it like a design engineer? The idea of being like someone who can do basically the both things. I remember at one point there was talk about this full stack designer who could do all sorts of things, including developing a website. And now it's this design engineer. So what do you think of that kind of new role spinning up from the internet?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's been bubbling for a while, hasn't it? That idea of the design engineer. And I'm seeing the marketing engineer as the next big thing, right? I think Profound released it recently or starts pushing it. I think in the design engineer world, actually with the world of Webflow, I think a lot of us who have been building and creating websites with Webflow have kind of always been in that space, right? Because you're kind of a designer first, or maybe you've got into the world of websites through being able to do designs in Figma or Sketch or whatever other tool. And Webflow finally gave you the ability to express that through code and web and production. So in a way, we've kind of always, as Webflow, has been straddling the worlds of design and dev, I think, which is really exciting. So, I mean, call it design engineer. We were there first, right? We've been there for a while as Webflowers. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see as Webflow continues to get more AI first and maybe leans more into the code side of the platform, how Webflowers, who maybe started off more in the design world, continue to transition and extend their skill set. Like, what was your background? Were you more in the design world, or did you come into Webflow kind of more as a developer, or how did you get into it?
I actually have a marketing background and maybe a bit more like design on the side. So that's my background. But I'm wondering if this goes further, will we have more of these generalist roles that do all sorts of things with the help of AI? And will there be place for pure specialists? I would say that at least at this point, there will definitely be a place for those. About what if AI can be trusted, properly trusted in the future?
Yeah.
Will we all be doing multiple jobs at that point? What do you think?
Questions for me? Yeah. I don't know. yeah, maybe. I mean, look, the idea of wearing multiple hats and carrying out multiple roles, I think for most people in the agency world, and whether you're a sole trader and you're running a small studio, or you're a slightly bigger agency, or you're a massive, hundreds, thousands persons agency, even if you are a specialist, you're probably wearing a few hats, especially in the smaller scale agencies, right? Like you said, we've got designers who are also building tools, developers who are talking to clients about optimization and AEO. We've got directors like us who are doing podcasts and whatever else we do. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. To that point, being able to wear multiple hats as a designer, I think has always been kind of a core skill. It's something we look for, kind of an interest in that world of code and AI. And even if you're not necessarily a full stack designer with dev experience right now, knowing that you've got some interest in that area, I think will put you in a good stead for the future. How do you feel about it? Do you feel a pressure to move more into that development world, to learn more about kind of coding and building stuff? Or is kind of the Webflow and design and marketing, which is a really good combo, by the way, is that your story and you're kind of happy with
that's
that?
Right now that is, but I feel pressure to do all sorts of things. The more the better. In a sense, I feel pressure to dive deeper into the development side, but also it would be helpful to be a better designer. A copywriting would be a nice added skill. Well,
Yeah.
I think that I do some of that, but just being able to like within the same hat, same seat, spot like bad copy and maybe like do little edits, that in itself would be good. Then there's obviously this content creation thing, videos, text content. Well, that's in a way copywriting, but anyways, like my mind is like very mixed, going to all the places. And at the same time, I kind of like the idea that you could do just one thing properly, but I'm not sure that possible. Even if you would be a specialist, as you said, you are probably handling couple more things on the side. So yeah.
And I think the thing is, neither of us, nobody really knows the ways that AI is going to impact our role in a year, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? Whether we'll even have websites, I don't know. But I think building kind of that T-shaped skill set of like, my core thing is I do Webflow sites. I'm a Webflow builder or whatever. But you've also got these other areas of expertise. Like you can make content, you can write copy, you can advise on AEO. Like having even just a little bit of experience along the kind of the full stack, I think is so helpful, because then as things shift, you can kind of shift with them. And to your point before, that's kind of how we've built MakeBuild, right? We built a core competency around creating good design work and turning that into a website. And we've kind of evolved on that as the Webflow platform has evolved. And we'll continue to shift and pivot and move where our customers need us to go, I think. Yeah.
But that's the thing, that when you are trying to like broaden your expertise, you obviously like check out the experts on that one topic. Like you see all the specialists at it. Like it's easy to see a world where you should be like very proficient with all the things, but that's obviously not possible. So again, this social media bubble thing.
Right. And it's, it's actually one of the things I quite like about like the Webflow like community side of things, particularly here in London, is that it's a chance to get together face to face and kind of cut through some of the LinkedIn chatter about, a year ago it was download my NaN workflow and now it's download my Claude code, whatever. And it's just like, okay, but we're in reality, how are we doing on the ground, guys? Like running agencies, like trying to do good work and make a name for ourselves. All right. Yeah. You're wearing many hats. Me too. Like, oh, you didn't get to try out that new Claude thing yet? No, me neither. And that's okay, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, at some point we have to land this plane, but there was one thing kind of bringing back to the first topic about that re-architecturing thing. Let's say that Webflow pulls that off. We get a new, better whatever platform. It's kind of like open. The build part of the process is on par with all the other tools, and let's say that it's open in a sense that you can export things, and that might not be the biggest differentiating factor anymore. Well, it's not right now, and it wouldn't be for the future. So where do you think that Webflow will like provide the value in the future if it's not that like build part?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think we're already seeing this with how they're moving from how they talk about the platform as a no-code builder, like bring your ideas to life. Yeah, great. But they're also now talking about the website, the agentic web platform, whatever. And it's a loop, and it's about building and creating your ideas and then testing it and optimizing and personalizing the site for users and making sure that you're optimizing it for AI traffic as well. And this, I've done a bad job of explaining it, but I think going beyond the core kind of design and build a website and thinking about how you manage and maintain it long term is probably where they're going to continue moving, right? That's what they've been releasing over the last few months and couple of years, these tools to not only launch a website, but optimize and grow it and drive business value and whatever else into the long term. So I think we'll continue to see them play in that space.
Yeah, totally. And I believe they did this follow-up article where they explained that, okay, the build part is one thing, and then there's the maintenance and all that stuff that comes after the publish. And obviously, if you do, like, let's say you build a static site with all the new tools, that's one thing. But you still have to host it somewhere. You probably need some sort of CMS So there's already 2 separate platforms, maybe some sort of localization thing, analytics, or the optimization thing. So just like bundling all those things, it has value in itself. And if they work well together, that's obviously even better. There's so much things in the Webflow. Like many times I'm like puzzled. How do all of this like work together? Like it's becoming quite complex platform.
Yeah, it's really deep, and like even some of those things around, you mentioned localization. They've been working on localization for a number of years, and even last month it got some big improvements and updates, and it's using even better models to do the actual machine translation now. And each of these areas probably has a whole team of incredible designers and devs and product people in Webflow working on them, thinking about them as pure products. It's crazy actually to think. We say, oh yeah, Webflow, they've got a few bits here, and there's whole teams of people pushing each of those tranches forward. So yeah, it's really exciting to see what they've created and how that will evolve, I think.
Yeah, totally. We'll see. Okay, Dan, one more thing. Do you have any ideas what that might be?
No idea.
Beautiful. So this comes as a surprise. So this is a last segment for the episodes for the podcast, and it is the weird little Finnish section at the end. So what follows is that I will give you a Finnish saying. I will translate that to English, and your job is to guess or somehow know what that means. Is that clear?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
And do not feel bad if you don't get it. Like there have not been too many guests that have actually guessed that right, or it has been like super simple. So your saying, firstly in Finnish, is pitkin hampain, and translated to English, it means with long teeth. And the way someone would use this is that you are doing something with long teeth. So I could, for example, say that I am building this website with long teeth. So how am I doing the site?
Good question. Long teeth. There's something in English like long in the tooth, isn't there? There's a phrase, long in the tooth. I don't know what it means though. It's one of those things that I've heard before. I actually don't know what it means. Long in the tooth. I feel like it's more of a negative thing. It's a bit long in the tooth. I'm going to find it something really offensive now. I have no idea. What is it? Put me out of my misery. What does it mean?
Give me one guess. Something. One just guess? Random.
Okay, long in the tooth. Sorry, with long teeth. I think maybe it means you're going to build this website with long teeth. Like, you're really experienced. You've done it for years, but almost maybe you're a bit past it. Like, maybe you're no longer on the cutting edge. There's a pun there with cutting and teeth. Yeah, something like you're a bit past it. Like, you're gonna try your best, but you're doing it with long teeth. I don't even know if this is still the best way to build anymore. Something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of like to the right direction. So
you're being generous.
So I would translate that to like with reluctance. Like I do not do not want to do this, but I still have to do this. So I will do it.
Okay.
I will do it with long teeth. So, yeah, I do not know where that comes from. And is there any sort of logic behind that? But for some reason, there's a saying in Finnish.
I learned something new. Can you say it again in Finnish? Can you say it again?
Pitkin hampain. So if I would say that I will do this website with long teeth, minä teen tämän nettisivun pitkin hampain.
Reluctantly. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Right. I'll remember that for when I have to cook dinner for my girlfriend and I later.
Oh, totally. Okay, Dan, this has been a blast. And for all the listeners, watchers, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.